You are from Nokha, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me something about history of that temple with the rats.
Yes, sir. The Karnimata temple of Deshnok. Very famous and more precious and more famous for the white cats. It's very rare to see when we go white cats there, and they are considered to be very lucky and auspicious.
How did those rats happen to be there?
Sorry, sir, I have to ask my grandparents about.
Okay, you better know about it because Nokha is famous only for that one thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you tell me, how does interpretation of history help you in understanding present times in any country?
Yes, sir. The interpretation of history, as we have seen, the different people see history from different perspectives. There are different schools of history from nationalist perspective, Marxist, feminist, and the subaltern perspective. So whenever we are looking at a particular issue, for an example, if you talk about the current Israel-Hamas war, it has a historical significance and historical relevance in it. On the other hand, if we particularly talk about the India, the borders of India has a history behind it. The what we are today has a history behind it. In terms of economy, if we talk about the colonial rule and the drain of wealth theory, led us to the poverty and all those things. So history has a big role in it.
Okay, does the Indo-Pak relations have been influenced by the history of that region?
Yes, sir. They are influenced by history of reason. The current day India-Pakistan relation have been due to like the partition and then the Indo-Bangladesh war and after that the Kargil war, and since then there have been historical significance. On the other hand, if you talk about the cultural significance, that can also lead to the better relations with like India-Pakistan have good cultural connections. So on the positive side, we have the good cultural relation, but on the other hand, the wars and the partitions and history which are painful for both the countries.
Okay. In your opinion, what was the trigger for India's independence movement?
So trigger, I would say it is very hard to pinpoint a single event. It just kind of build up. The most some nationalist historians argue that the 1857 revolution was the trigger point or was the burst of it. But if we see holistically, then it kind of build up the tension or the struggle against the British is kind of build up, and then the people come together, and then it rise in a form of national movement, and then the independence happened.
No, but in any case of build-up, there is always a bubble bursting. What was that moment in this thing?
If we say, then we can pinpoint on 1857 revolution, and after that, if we call it, I would say the rule or the Bengal partition. These were the two significant events. Although apart from it, there is a gap of even more than around 50 years, but these two events, I believe.
Okay, before Sepoy Mutiny of 1857, did Champaran movement have any bearing?
Sorry, sir, which movement?
Champaran, Champaran.
Champaran.
Huh.
I have to read more on
Indigo.
Indigo, yes, sir. Indigo, yes, sir. Indigo and the commercialization of agriculture as a whole had a big role in it because the people were, or the farmers, Indian economy were more based on the agriculture, and they forced to commercialize it, and then it led to famine and all those kind of issue, and which kind of led people to revolt against it because they were dying anyway due to the lack of food or famine conditions, so they choose to revolt and rise against the establishment.
Okay, nowadays there is a lot of talk about one nation, one election.
Yes, sir.
In your opinion, is India ready for one nation, one election?
So personally, as the recommendation and the consultation have been took place and the committee has submitted the report. But as far as I personally believe that India is ready because of certain examples I have in my mind. For an example, the election of 3, 4, even 5 states took place even during 2019 with the general election. And on the other hand, in terms of readiness, we have to educate our voters more in this regard, as the parties have certain objection and the committee still recommended it, but the biggest factor should be, are voter enough aware about it or not? What it will take, what are the changes, how to differentiate between. So the voters' education should be the prime agenda in terms of implementation.
Okay, now Rajasthan has a history of lot of discrimination against women, then caste-based discrimination. It used to be in other states also, but in other states it has come down, whereas in Rajasthan it is still persisting to a great extent. What do you think are the reasons why it is not improving?
Improving, sir. I personally, whatever I have seen in my district, Bikaner, the first is the female literacy rate has been very low. The Bikaner female literacy rate is around 52%. On the other hand, the individual employment opportunity for women, or if you talk about the caste-based discrimination, lower caste discrimination, the desirable jobs or the good jobs are not enough created in domestic or in local market for, say, even in Bikaner. So the unemployment has been rising in Bikaner itself, and that has been also a big hurdle between women empowerment or the caste empowerment talk about. And the third reason is the traditional patriarchal mindset of the men. These are the reasons I can think of.
Okay, then in Akhatis you have lot of child marriages taking place at mass scale, whereas law prohibits child marriages. Why the state is not able to do anything? It is being done openly, brazen, indifference to law.
Yes, the first reason I can think of is the social acceptance of child marriage. As well, as long as people are ready to accept, people are ready to have marriages, then it will be very hard for any state to impose it or the restrict it. And on the other hand, the economic part of a marriage costs are increasing heavily. We particularly talk about the Western Rajasthan. So, in tends to save money, people tend to marry together their child. And the third reason is the rituals like Ata Shata, the cross marriages within the family. Like the if I am me and my sister marrying to someone else's sister and brother. So the Ata Shata ritual has played a big role in child marriage in Western Rajasthan in communities like Bishnoi, Jats, and all. These are the three reasons I can think of. And one more thing that I personally have observed is that the villages where there are schools till 12th class, there is low rate of child marriages as compared to the villages where school is only till 8th class. And on the other hand, if the villages have nearby colleges, then the child marriage also is low. So I believe that the education and the empowerment also play a significant role in it.
Okay, one more question, last question from my side.
Yes.
Is the same social acceptance which you mentioned as a reason for child marriages, is the same social acceptance is responsible for rape of women of weaker sections of society in
No,
Rajasthan?
no, sir. So I believe that the social acceptance overall has been never been there as a whole. But the individually, if we can say the patriarchal mindset can support individual to individual. Sometimes it can happen. Like the one community can save their person if he has raped or has discriminated against the lower caste. Particular community, some certain section of very few members can come out and support it. But on the as a whole, as a society, I don't think we have the acceptance of rape.
Okay, thank you, Rajendra. Mr. Sushil.
Yeah, so thank you, sir. Rajendra Bishnoi,
Yes, sir.
you are from Bikaner. You are talking. We are talking about with the previous member about the the history of Rajasthan and Bikaner. Bikaner, I'll continue with that. Bikaner is famous for few things, including the dal, the bhujia.
Yeah, yes, sir. You
And
might be having on table.
I'm sorry, you are having one right now. Okay, and also it's in a major cantonment of army. Tell me
Cantonment.
why these two are associated with Bikaner.
Sir, the major cantonment for army has to do with the Bikaner state pre-independence, the Risalo army,
Mhm.
and the leaders like the rulers like Maharaja Ganga Singh or that Karni Singh. They have been big part of British establishment. They have
Mhm.
took part in the World War II, and the army, I would say, the infrastructure has been there, and since then it has been continued. On the other hand, with the being the a border district, Bikaner
Mhm.
itself, bordering the Pakistan and border district. So the after independence, also the government continues to.
Okay, okay. Tell me the other aspect, other part. I have two questions related to Bikaner. Other was bhujia. Why so synonym with the Bikaner?
Just as the synonymous, the people know because of the rise of in terms of economy and then the huge market it has created India as well as the foreign
No,
market.
but why it has happened? Why
Yes, sir.
not? Why not in
The,
Jaisalmer?
yes, sir. The reason has been to a certain community in terms of the Banya or the Jains have played a significant role in it in terms of promoting it as well as creating. And the local weather has been such that the other, I would say, the green vegetables or the other kind of food has not been sustainable at a scale as it can be the moat or the dal
Uh,
based product.
I think you need to look into it more closely.
Yes, sir.
You are Bishnoi. How you got this surname, Bishnoi?
Sir, the Bishnoi sect is a Westernite sect based on the 29 rules, which
Mhm.
is 20 plus no, peace plus no. So
Mhm.
those who follow these 29 rules called Bishnoi.
What was the necessity to have these rules?
Sir, the Guru Jambeshwar, due to the certain geographical or the and the condition of that time, he wanted some reforms and he asked his followers to he made rules and asked his followers to join and follow these
See,
rules.
the rules are made for a particular reason, right? So what interested is and to know from you why your Guruji thought of making these rules.
So due to the rising local need in terms of if we are talking about saving the environment, there was when the rules were established, there was a condition of extreme famine. And so the greenery and saving water conservation, all these issues came in. And on the
Mhm.
other hand, if you talk about the personal hygiene rules and other, there were certain kind of diseases during medieval times. So the hygiene was missing from people. People are not being hygiene enough. So those rules come up. Then there has been other rules are based on the meditation and having fast and all this.
Mhm. You studied your undergraduate course in Zakir Hussain College.
Yes, sir.
In the evening, I think you were studying there, as
Yes, sir.
mentioned in your DAF. Can you tell me what are the contribution of Zakir Hussain to the Indian education system?
Yes, sir. Great educationist and in particularly the idea of Nai Talim, which the Gandhi also accepted or Gandhi was also Mahatma Gandhi was also part of. Nai Talim was to education for all kind of aspect which we currently talk about or currently discuss. Education should be for all and which was if we currently see the significance of it, it is totally against the coaching industries or the just mugging of certain things.
Mhm. But have we been able to follow those ideals which was propounded by Dr. Zakir Hussain?
Sir, if we see the current situation, the prime examples of the quota suicides, IIT suicides, or the reports of NGOs like Pratham NGO, ASER reports, and the impact of COVID, I
Mhm.
personally believe that we have not fulfilled his aspiration to a level.
So what could be the reasons why we have not? Because when we talk about, he talked so early about, almost 100 years back. And when all the educationists when you look at the Western systems, they follow those ideals. Why Indian system has not followed?
So due to the conditions we have economically, the economy was earlier was based on the agriculture side, and people were not. And
No, my
instead,
question is slightly different here.
yes,
Rajendra, if you look at what I'm saying, you told us that, he talked about all-round development of the student and not mugging. I'm referring myself to that aspect, that when he has talked about and we accepted that this is the way the education should be done. So what were the factors which forced us, or with whatever the contribution of those factors, that we are not able to follow those ideas, which even the new education policy also talks about that. So what are the
one of
factors
the
from the historical point of view? You're a student of history. Tell
yes,
me, but in very short, 2, 3 points.
one of reason could be the economic model we choose in terms of closed economy and the development, the state sponsored development. It will lead to the government jobs, and then the ideas of government on development. It is kind of led to that field rather than the innovation and other part. So led to it avoided kind of critical thinking.
Just think, think about it, uh, because you are coming to the closer to that, but coming in very, very roundabout. When we're talking, you see, in the history, nowadays a debate is going on that we have emphasized more on the Mughal history and ancient history is not emphasized. Because I understand the history has to be very objective. Whether A or B look at history, he should come with the same facts because the facts don't change. Why we have to have this need for this debate?
Yes, sir, the fact can be the same, but perspective can differ. If we particularly talk about the we or I am talking with both of you, the one perspective is that you are taking a interview of me, and the other perspective can be that you can like I am your employee and you are taking a meeting. And other third perspective can be that I am the boss and I am the one who is taking the meetings. So
Mhm.
the objective criteria is that we are having meeting, but the perspective how people see it can be differ from one person to one person, and that's
So,
what historian do.
so you mean to say that the history is subjective, not objective?
That the facts are objective, but the interpretation or the perspective regarding it are subjective.
No, we differ on the facts even. Now we are differing on the facts also.
Yes, sir. That
So,
sir, that is just to change or the makeup of certain things or to
mhm.
favor one side to the other.
Okay, tell me, you mentioned about in the context of the history, understand Hamas and Israel war. Tell me, what is the history of this war and can it guide us in seeking a solution for today's problem,
Yes,
today's issue which we are confronting in the
yes.
Israel Hamas?
Sir, originally the Palestinian has been here, which they are demanding. But on the other hand, after the World War II and the Jewish settlement, the British and USA took out the Balfour Declaration, and
Mhm.
then they provided home to Jews. But if we see historically, and the Arab world demanded against it, they were not ready to give space for the Jews or the country as Israel. And then the
Mhm.
war took place, and since then it has been continuing struggle between two. So
Mhm.
if we see historically, the Palestinian has a right to ask for their space or right to demand certain things.
Mhm.
And from that we can carve out a solution by bringing the negotiator like UK and US and Israel, those who were there in the past
But
as
how
well.
you want the UK to come into play when you yourself says that the creation of this problem has been because of the UK, because UK came out with a solution,
Yes.
and that solution is the what is causing problem. So how you still trust UK to be the impartial umpire in this?
So there's the moral obligation they should have. They will have or not, that's a totally different thing. But I personally believe that there's the moral obligation they have to clear this mess out.
But the moral obligation, can they solve the problems? I'm asking you to get a solution to the problem based on the historical history you have narrated to me. Anyway, tell me, uh, you are interested in writing letters to friends and family.
Yes, sir.
What has encouraged you in today's era of WhatsApp messages to have this hobby?
Sir, the WhatsApp messages are like a short text and you can't fully express it or can't share it. And letter writing is such a feel for me that I just sit and just write whatever I want to, and then the share with the person whom I want to.
Well,
Just
you can do that on WhatsApp also, the same thing.
just doesn't feel good
Or
personally.
you like to put the thoughts on paper.
Yeah, that is right.
Okay, okay. Uh, last question from my side. You are president of an eco club in college. What you
Yes.
really did? Just 3 points.
So Eco Class, the first was to have, I personally, as a president, what I did was the first to have the weekly Eco Warrior Award.
Sorry?
Weekly Eco Warrior Award in the college. Like we just used to observe students, or we have given the responsibility to teachers to observe students who are following certain hygiene principles. They are maintaining, they are cleaning.
Okay.
So that was the Eco Warrior Award. And second was to have nearby area clean by organizing once in a month kind of,
Okay.
I would say, the cleanup kind of thing. And third was to visit certain places and have those things do there. The activity part should be outside the college, in local
Okay.
areas, and to generate awareness about.
Right. Thank you very much, Rajendra. It was very nice interacting with you. So over to you, sir.
Okay. Rajendra, so the interview part is now over. Let us talk
Yes, sir.
about some feedback. What is your assessment about your performance today?
Sir, it could have been better. As always, there is an opportunity to improve and do work, but I believe that it was really good to have conversation with senior people like you who have been experienced and have seen people going through what I am going through. So it's really good.
Okay. And when is your interview?
On 9th of April.
So last day. So you have some time. Okay. See, 2, 3 things, Rajendra, we should keep in mind. You need to read a little more about Nokha and Bikaner.
Yes.
Okay. Because you knew about things, but your answer could have been much more, much more informative.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second thing is, my observation is, in some of the questions, you are trying to give general answers. You are not precise. Okay. So in civil services personality test, time is very limited. So try to be precise while answering the question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, one more suggestion from my side is that when I asked you about, role of history in Indo-Pak relations, your answer was not fully satisfying, in the sense that the problem started soon after independence.
Yes, sir.
Whereas Pakistan was part of India till that time. So there cannot be any historical difference or cultural difference or any difference between the partition of post 1947 and India of post 1947.
Yes, sir.
The actual problem started when Kashmir was still independent in August 1947. It was a separate state, princely state,
Yes.
and Pakistan tried to invade Kashmir.
Yes, sir.
That is where the problem started. So that part you did not mention.
Yes, sir. Right.
That changed the history of the entire region. Okay. The rest, of course, you were good. But that independence movement thing also, you have to little bit need brush up. Your argument on build up was good. but then you should know actually where the trigger was. Okay. Now, Bengal partition was much before the demand for independence started. Okay. So keep those things in mind. So maybe you will be able to refine your answers and try to be brief in answering and precise in answering. And also your posture is, we should little sit straight, look into the eyes of the interview board member, like that. Okay. Okay. All the best to you, Mr. Sushil.
Rajendra, I will make few points. When is your interview? 8th or
9th
9th?
of April.
9th of April. So you have still about 8 to 10 days. I'm sure you're working very hard and you are almost there. And last hurdle is there in front of you. But you have arrived here. So that means you should take pride in the fact that you are there. Right? Number one. Number two, just for the, your attire, the way you are you planning to keep your beard or is it temporary?
No, clean.
It will be a clean.
Yeah,
Haircut also, because that is also going to comment on that. And I don't know, you are planning to take more mock interview or anything? Are you planning? No. Or this is the last? What I would have suggested that have you practiced? I don't know what you're going to wear. Not certainly this t-shirt.
No.
But so it would be useful that if you practice what you are going to wear. Suppose you are planning to a jacket or tie. So if you practice that, then it will be useful because then, it becomes part of your personality. So you have 10 days. So practice it for some time like that. And, hey, buddy, come. Sorry. So you practice that, it will be helpful because then you are not conscious of that fact that, you're wearing dress or you're not comfortable. So that's just a practical side. Other is, as Vijay sir has already told you, you see, somebody told me, give me a tip that when you have become the district magistrate, Vijay sir has undergone that same process, is that when you're talking to chief minister, you will have a maximum 40 to 50 seconds to brief him about your district. So think that you are, when you're answering questions, you think that you are, briefing your CM. So try to prioritize the point which you want to make to him, make in the answer. And since you have about 10 days, I would say write down questions and answer which are going to come out of your DAF only.
Yes.
Some questions and practice them. That will give you an idea how to prioritize your answers in the order of priority. So you have 10 days and I'm sure you'll make it.
Yes, sir.
All the best.
Rajendra, you have anything to know from us?
No. Thank you, sir. You have been very helpful and kind to me.
Okay, all the best to you then.
Yes, sir.